Hey, have you ever thought, man, I sure love these core Gundams, but damn, they're just so expensive. I must buy a core Gundam, a parts set, and a weapon set? That's just insane! No? Well, someone did. And I think you know who that someone is. Hello everyone, this is Modeling with Variety, and today we're comparing Uraven Gundams. One of them is Bandai and the other Bootleg, so that we can see if this one is worth the cash and the other straight to the trash. Let's take a look. Opening the box, we can see the usual affair. Runners of the Uraven Gundam, the manual, and that's basically it. Looking at the runners, you could see the Bandai plastic that we all know and love. Sharp details, but not too sharp. Nice quality plastic, easy to cut even with a nipper that has, to be honest, seen better days. And sprues that are malleable and easy to use, as you'd expect from Bandai. Now we get to the interesting part. Opening the box, you also see the usual. The runners of the Uraven, the manual, and that's it. Looking at the runners, and you could see that it's strangely high quality for a bootleg. Nice quality plastic that's slightly glossier compared to the Bandai one. The polycaps though are kind of dicey looking, but we'll see when we get it built up. The manual for the Uraven is pretty much the same, but some of the instructions have been changed to Chinese from Japanese. And some of the parts have machining marks that aren't really good looking, but not a total issue by any means. Okay, let's get them built up and see how they look. A few things to note with the Uraven Gundam in general. The design of it isn't as nice, especially when you build it as a model kit. There are a lot of crashing parts that make play with it not as enjoyable as, let's say, a Build Strike or the Build Burning Gundam out of the box. So I will be focusing more on the Bandai versus Bootleg aspect rather than the Uraven Gundam itself. Alright, let's get to it. Building up the Bandai one is as you'd expect. Smooth, straightforward building experience with little to no issues. From opening the box, seeing the runners, and just, following the manual. The plastic is slightly matte and buttery smooth when cut. More specifically the gray, that we've seen I think since the Gundam Wing, released back in September 2013. The bootleg one, on the other hand, was shockingly similar. There are little to no issues when building it up other than the forehead gem being missing before opening the pack, the chest piece of the core Gundam being seemingly chewed on by a rat, and the crappy sticker sheet. And the gimmick that's seemingly not cooperative that I'll talk more about later. Other than that, the overall build experience is quite enjoyable. Now here's where it gets kinda interesting. Playing with the Bandai one is as you'd expect. Smooth joint, slightly stiff parts when getting to the plastic connections, but overall, no problems. The bootleg one, however, shows that it is in fact a bootleg. So much so that playing with the unit is an absolute nightmare when straight built. One of the biggest issues that contribute to this problem are those polycaps. The polycaps are smooth. too smooth to the point that it provides little friction when it comes to connecting joints and making those joints work as intended. Case in point, the shoulder joint PC4. It holds the pose fine for a while, but in time, it just starts to droop and sag, and it can't even hold the pose properly. And when I try to pull it apart, it just does so with the most minimal of force. Another big issue is the extra attaching arm gimmick that the rifle has. The arm extension part of the Uraven is held together by a weak connection, and by simply holding it wrong, it will split apart, which in turn you will have to reattach for the pose to work. This issue was quite glaring since I had to film and pose the unit for the whole review, and it just kept falling apart over and over again, which was maddening. And the small issues tend to become more apparent and the more that you play with it, like the shoulder armor and the sensor bits having weak connections that leads to it being loose and falling apart ever so often, that makes the play experience more frustrating than it is. But that's not to say that it's totally bad. It's let's get to the conclusion, shall we? Alright, let's get real here. The Bandai one totally wins. The plastic quality, molded detail quality, build quality, and the overall experience is so much better compared to the bootleg one from the moment that you open the box. But that's not to say the bootleg one is totally trash. Far from it actually. It is of a nice quality plastic, good enough polycaps if you don't want to play with it all the time, and yeah, it's a good enough copy of this guy right here if you don't mind its flaws. Keep in mind the phrase good enough though when you want to purchase one of these bootleg kits. It's not the best because the Bandai one is the best Uraven out there, but the bootleg's good enough. You know, good enough. And for that price, I can't say I'm not tempted, you know? So that's about it. What do you guys think? Is the bootleg one absolutely trash or right up your alley? How about the video? Is it good or bad? What improvements could I do? Should I actually review the next releases by
Baba Bowie
and see how the other units fare compared to what I got here? Leave your comments down below. Thank you for watching.